Hey there, Libra. Welcome to your reading for the week of March 27th. We're just going to jump right in here, Libra, and see what is going on for you. You have this card that says, despite the frustration, you're on your way to making all your dreams come true. You also have this promoter card that says, a new idea project has great potential to succeed. It also says, raise your vibration to attract higher vibrational situations. I can't read today, but there you go, Libra. It's kind of interesting that you have that frustration card there. It's like, things are actually improving. I really feel that, by the time a lot of us get to like summertime, that a lot of us will be like, oh, wow, I was worrying about X, Y, and Z for no reason. So, I would try to make sure that you're not like making a big deal out of things that you don't need to make a big deal out of that might just not matter in a short period of time. So I definitely get that going on. For you, you have the Strength card, the Judgment card, and the Six of Wands showing up in your first position here. So I feel like you've been very patient. It's almost like you're looking for answers with this Judgment card here. And I do feel like you'll find the answers, by the way. So, if you're worried about something or if you're wondering, when things are going to change for you or when things are going to improve in your life, I do feel like you are going to get the answers that you have been looking for with this energy. Look at this, divine counterparts right here as well if you want love. So this looks pretty good. I feel for a lot of you, this is encouraging you to work on any limiting beliefs or any of the things that maybe you say that hold you back. I would be taking control of those beliefs with the Strength card. With the Judgment card, it's like there's a new direction here. This is a new direction reading. I feel like an old direction is very stuck here. You have this Despair card and this Imprisonment card, which always reminds me of the Eight of Swords. And you have the Ten of Wands, the Devil. It's almost like something has been stealing your energy, whether it's a person, place, or a thing, doesn't matter. And I feel this right here is the new direction, right in the middle. And it's kind of like saying, what are you waiting for in going towards this new direction? It's going to set you free. But King of Wands is like, the card of being confident, bold, assertive, but also feeling good because you're probably working on something that is worth it. I always say that the King of Wands, he raises something like a baby, but he the reason he does that is because he's seeing the result. He's seeing the, if it were a baby, he's seeing the baby grow and get smarter and learning how to walk and all this other stuff. But again, this is just a metaphor for the King of Wands. He might be working on a business. He might be working on his career. He might be working on his health or his spirituality. And it's like, I kind of get that energy here where it's like, you haven't been seeing results and, results are very motivating. And I feel like there's a way that you can finally see results. You have the Six of Wands, which is a card of success and standing out. I feel like you need to not be afraid to, outshine people in your life at this time. And there are going to be plenty of people, especially right now, that are like, how dare you change? How dare you improve your life? How dare you get better, right? There's going to be plenty of that going on in the world. So I would just ignore it. With the Strength card, you have the Six of Pentacles. A lot of kind of like planting energy here. Six of Pentacles to me says plant seeds in a direction and see what grows. Ace of Pentacles, there's a garden right in the front of the Ace of Pentacles. And the Ace of Pentacles, again, we have to nurture something into existence, just like the King of Wands. A lot of nurturing energy here. With the Judgment card, you have the Four of Cups. I like this Four of Cups. This is the White Sage Tarot, by the way. And you can see that those three cups are pouring into that one cup. And that's really why I like this Four of Cups so much, is because it's like three things pouring into one thing instead of the other way around with the Four of Cups. So I feel like you could be getting into a situation that's like much more fulfilling. And with the Six of Wands, you have the Magician, something you've attracted. I feel like you've attracted this new direction. We go up here, you have the Fool and the Ten of Wands. The Ten of Wands says you still maybe have some responsibilities from the past, but I do kind of feel like, it's kind of funny if we look at this reading like a sandwich, right? It's like you have the top, the bottom, the middle. For whatever reason, I feel like this is the part that you want to focus on. Like this is the good stuff right here, is the middle. And I feel like this reading is saying there might still be some things where you're going to have to like put in some work. I don't really have a good example other than like if you're building a business or side hustle, maybe you still have to work, like a job. So you have the job and you're working, maybe you're tired from the job and you're kind of having to come home and work on your side hustle or your business. But I think it's going to be worth it is what this reading is saying. It's like, yeah, maybe you'll be a little bit tired or whatever for a little bit of time. And but I think that it's going to be worth the effort. Next, you actually have 2 cards. I've only been pulling 1 card. This is the area of the unexpected. You have this card that says, Mermaid, be careful of what you wish for. And you have this Pelican. It says, now's your chance. Act quickly. Yes, I would get moving. I don't think you need to be careful of what you wish for. I just think that the Mermaid is actually saying you need to be clear on exactly what you want in your life. It's like sometimes I think people will say to me like, oh, I want $10 million. I'm like, okay, well, it's like, do you really need that much though? And trust me, I think people should make as much as they possibly can. But what I like to suggest to people is that you might not need as much as you think to have the things that you actually want in life. So, again, I used to watch this guy. I can't remember who it was, but I remember watching this video, and he did all the math basically on like if you wanted to have like a fancy car, a nice house, and like all this other stuff, you really only need to make like $1 million a year, not 10 million. So it's like people I think overestimate how much they need. And again, I want to make it very clear that I do not think we should limit ourselves. So I'm not suggesting that you go for less. I'm just saying that I feel like you need to be clear on what you actually need to get to what you want. Because once you gain that clarity, then you know exactly what to do. And it's going to provide some answers, and then you can act on it. And I kind of feel like there needs to be some action here. So I would get clear. You have the Ace of Pentacles, the Page of Wands, and the Seven of Pentacles. Like, I feel like saying how much more proof do you need with the Seven of Pentacles? Again, you always get the Seven of Pentacles, Libra. I always say, is the juice worth the squeeze? Sometimes I think we stay and we stay and we stay in a situation thinking that things are going to change, and they don't. So if there's a situation that you're in where you're saying, oh, I'll just give it 6 more months, I'll give it 1 more month, I'll give it 2 more weeks, whatever. I think, it's time to leave, basically, the Seven of Pentacles. I think we're all bad at this. And again, this is not a criticism. This is something that even I personally have only woken up to over the past couple of years, is like, how much proof do you need that something is not working, and are you selling yourself short in a situation, whether it's love or otherwise, doesn't matter, right? I think we all stay in situations way too long, and I say we need to be better breaker-uppers, but this doesn't even have to be like breaking up with a person. This could be breaking up with a business or a job where the writing's on the wall. And it's kind of interesting that I kind of feel that the reason this is so important right now is because of the astrology. I feel like we're getting to this point in the astrology where it's like things are very cut and dry. Even with Pluto going into Aquarius, it's leaving Capricorn. That doesn't mean we're done dealing with the Pluto and Capricorn energy. It is going to retrograde back. But even at that, when a planet leaves a sign, it's like we don't just stop having to live those lessons. We learn those lessons when the planet is in the sign. When it leaves, that's when we the rubber meets the road. That's when we actually have to put those lessons into action. And Pluto and Capricorn is all about efficiency, the breakdown of structure, but it's also about like the writing being on the wall in some ways. It's like, are you in a relationship situation? It's like it's kind of hard to prove right? Because we all have different experiences, but it's like the writing is on the wall. I think we all spend too much time in situations that just aren't working or just aren't getting anywhere. And it's like if you're with a person and their values, their ideals don't match with yours, it's time to find someone else. And I think if more people did this, we'd probably have more positive relationships. But it's not just relationships. It's also in a job. It's like if you've been at a job for a long time, your boss said that they were going to give you a raise and they didn't give you a raise, and they keep kind of moving the goalpost or changing when you can get a raise. It might be time to leave, right? And this is all about kind of like taking your power back, and I think that's what this reading is saying. You have the Page of Wands. It's like you're a peacock. You want to fly, as Mark Wahlberg. He says that in that movie, whatever that movie is, I can't remember, about the police. But anyway, in that movie, that's what's popping into my head here. I feel like you want to fly. You want to spread your wings and go have more exciting experiences in your life. You have the Ace of Pentacles. There's an opportunity coming in for you. I do feel there are a lot of opportunities for people to kind of set themselves free right now, but these things, they might not look like opportunities. That's the problem. Or there might be a knowledge gap, right? Which is a big one, especially with all the Capricorn energy that we've had over the past few years. Back in 2016, we had Saturn in Capricorn. We've had Pluto in Capricorn for 20 years. It's like all this energy. It's like saying, yeah, there are all these these things that exist. The problem with Capricorn is like, get your ass moving. The problem with Capricorn is you have to learn as much as you possibly can about these things. So, it's kind of like the needing to go through the initial setup is maybe a little bit of a challenge for you, Libra. It's a challenge for everybody, right? But I think it'll be worth it. Let's see, with the Ace of Pentacles, you have the Five of Cups. Yeah. This is the other thing that keeps coming up for everyone is past disappointments. We're getting to the end of the last eclipse season. We're about to have another eclipse season starting in April. And, the next set of eclipses, I should say. And these are much more positive eclipses, but, whenever we're kind of like in between eclipse seasons, I think some weird stuff can happen. Or we could just kind of, especially that last set of eclipses, a little challenging. The last one being in Taurus, I did a video on that eclipse, the Taurus one. I did one on the Scorpio one as well, but I did the Taurus one. I said the problem with this Taurus one is that I think it's here to teach us that we all need to be super flexible and quickly. It's like if you need to get a job quickly, do it. Don't wait. If you need to be flexible in the type of job that you work at, do it. I also think there's a lot of stepping stone energy, which also causes confusion for people. It's like maybe you have a certain talent, gift, skill, or ability, or a certain degree, right, from college, but maybe you can't get a job in that field that you have, your expertise in. The trick is we're in a time of stepping stones, I believe, where it's like maybe you have to get something in between getting what you actually want. But if you don't take the stepping stone, you're not going to get what you actually want. But that's also true in other areas of life, like love, money, spirituality. It's like, I think people don't want to hear this. And I'm sorry, but it's like maybe in love, it's like maybe you have to date a next person before you actually meet your real person, right? But you could be saying, I don't want to date because everyone's a cheater. So it's like, the energy is very weird like that. It's very conflicting. It's very contradictory. It's very having to do things we don't want to do. But again, I always tell people, if you're here in the minnow pond, you're in the winning pond. So it's like you're a winner. You should be out there winning at this time. And this is the only way to win right now. You have the devil. I would definitely be careful of a past devil because you have the devil twice here. I do think you're moving on from a past person for a lot of you who was the devil. And that's really all I get there. With the Seven of Pentacles, you have the Six of Cups. I would be careful of a past person. Every single person this week has had something about a past person. Again, I think it's the eclipses. We do have a Mercury retrograde coming up in April, but again, I really feel it's eclipse energy because we're not that close, necessarily to we're close, but we're not that close to the Mercury retrograde where it should be triggering, not at least this week, where it should be triggering, a person to come back from the past. We're getting there, but, I would just be careful with the Six of Cups. I feel like that you've kind of lived out a situation and it's time to move on. Again, in your next row for what you need to hear right now, you have this despair card and this imprisonment card. So I do feel like you need to set yourself free from this. It's like sometimes I think we think that things can't get better, but they actually can, or we feel like we're stuck. But I do feel like this is saying that you're working too hard, the whole entire reading, really. But you have that Ten of Wands. Sometimes with the Ten of Wands, I feel like we are just taking on other people's responsibilities, and that's the problem. We're living other people's lives, basically. And it could be anyone. But I do feel that for some of you. So I feel like you need to make sure that at this time, your responsibilities are your own and that you're not taking on someone else's problems. You might have a person in your life who, what's popping into my head, honestly, is you might have a person in your life, they only call you or contact you or text you when they have a problem. And, I think this happens to a lot of spiritual people because I think us spiritual people are very good at giving advice. And plus, usually, I think the type of person that is spiritual kind of, attracts this other type of person who might be an energy vampire. So I would definitely be careful of any of those people in your life. I would also say that you have the Ten of Wands and the Fool. The Fool kind of suggests to me that it is your time. The Fool kind of says like, okay, you've done all the work, right? And now it's time to go on your own journey. And that's what's going on here. I also feel you're very close to the end of this journey. I always say that I don't consider the Ten of Wands to be a terrible card. This is a harvest that he planted, that he is carrying, and he's about to reach his home right here. So he's about to have a harvest. It's like, how bad can that be? It's not. He's about to get what he wanted. It's like, yes, it was a lot of work, but he's about to get the things that he wanted. So again, I feel like you're about to get the harvest that you have desired in life, whatever that is. You have the Three of Wands here. Definitely time to take the lead. I do think that this is true for everyone. Again, I keep saying that I think we're in a time where there's like a bunch of empty space is the best way I could describe it. And I think this empty space needs to be filled by us. We need to fill it with our new ideas, our good ideas, different ways of doing things in life. I keep talking about third place solutions. It's like, just look at any issue that exists. There's this side and that side, but it's like, is there something up here that's a third place. That's a different solution that no one has thought of. Those are the things that are going to turn people into like billionaires over the next 20 years, maybe trillionaires. I guarantee we see the first trillionaire during Pluto and Aquarius. There probably are some evil reptile alien families that exist that are trillionaires, but they're not going to admit that, right? We're talking about actually being admitted during Pluto and Aquarius. So, what I would say here is that we will probably see the first actual the first public trillionaire, right? During Pluto and Aquarius. I would also say that, again, like I said, if you want to become a trillionaire or even just a billionaire, again, get your third place ideas out there. It doesn't even have to be a billionaire. You could just be a millionaire, just happy and successful in life. It's like these are the things that can be created right now, but the space has to be filled. Again, right now I think people are afraid to fill the space because there are things that are happening that are making it scary to fill the space. We don't know where the economy is going. All these banks are collapsing. All this other stuff is happening, right? But there are alternatives. There are other things that are also kind of being created. And again, I want to stress that I don't support or any of these alternatives. I just they are just alternatives. It fits in well with the astrology. I talk about cryptocurrency because it's like, yeah, the banks are collapsing, but there's crypto. I'm not saying crypto is going to be the end all be all or anything like that. I actually, again, if there was ever a time where I'm not going to predict anything financial, it is right now for the next like 10 years at least, because as far as finances are concerned, crypto and otherwise, I think it's going to be a wild ride from here until 2033. Let's put it that way. And I think it's very unpredictable as well. But what I would say is, again, there are alternatives that are being created today. So, I kind of feel like the Three of Wands says there might be an alternative that you can create to some sort of issue or problem. I would do it. It'll lead to success. You have the Devil. I feel like you're leaving this person behind if it's a person. Other than that, I would be very careful of anything that steals your energy. It could be TV, it could be Netflix, whatever it is. I would be careful of those things. Yeah, with the Ten of Wands and the Fool, you have the Tower. Again, the Tower has been coming up. I think we're going to see a lot of global Tower moments, but I also feel this could be a new beginning after a Tower moment. So I kind of feel like some of you have already experienced the Tower. The other thing that I would say is, again, you're watching tarot, so you can avoid this, right? And what I would say is sometimes the Tower represents things being the same for too long. So you have that imprisonment card, you have the despair card, the Ten of Wands, the Devil. To me, that says that for some of you, you're going to have to be honest with yourself, right? I'm not going to sugarcoat this. You're going to have to be honest with yourself. But if you have been doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result, I think that it's time for you to avoid a Tower moment and make a change. Again, to me, I said it earlier with the Seven of Pentacles. For some of you, again, obviously general reading, it's not going to be for all of you, but for some of you, I feel like there's a story that is exactly the same, that has not changed. Seven of Pentacles, it's like you're still waiting for a result. And I feel like this is saying you're not going to get a result. It's time to make a change, whether this is a job, a business, a boss that keeps telling you they're going to give you a raise and they don't. That's like the feeling I get. A person who tells you they're going to marry you and they won't. I have read for too many people. It's like when I first started this channel, I used to do personal readings, and I have read for so many people where it's like they waited 30 years for a person who never married them, or waited 30 years for a person hoping that they would change. Again, people for the most part do not change, right? And again, people always give me an example of someone who changed. I'm like, great, good for that person. But for the most part, this is broadcasting to a lot of people. For the most part, people stay the same, right? People who change want to change. And so I have found in life that people who actually change or who are willing to change in a relationship situation, they're already the type of person who is open to change. So it's like there's no convincing here. And I kind of get that for you here, Libra, where some of you could be in a situation where you feel like you're having to convince the situation, whether it's a person, place, or thing, doesn't matter. And it's coming in very clearly. I feel like you feel like you're having to convince it. To me, the right thing doesn't need convincing. Plain and simple. We can just end it right there. With the Three of Wands, you have the Temperance card. Temperance is turning one thing into another. Again, I feel like you've been trying to turn a situation around. Really, the Three of Wands would say that you're taking lead and turning your own situation around. It's like you can't fix this situation, whatever it is, for some of you. Again, not going to be true for all of you. I want to stress. And I feel like you could be just kind of creating your own turnaround here. With the Devil, you have the Three of Cups. Definitely a celebration coming in for you if you set yourself free from this devil energy, whatever it is, something that's stealing your time, effort, and energy probably. At the end here, you have this Higher Power card, and you have this Turtle card. It says slowness and protection. So I kind of feel like things that have been slow are for your protection. Again, I do kind of feel like you're being protected from a Tower moment, but this is through guidance from a higher power. And again, I think the guidance is pushing you away, like I've been saying this whole entire time. You have the Queen of Wands, King of Wands, and the Six of Swords. Again, Six of Swords, moving on to calmer shores. And, with the Six of Swords, the woman and the child in the boat, they have only the clothing on their back. So they are leaving everything behind them behind. They're bringing nothing with them across the choppy waters. And that's what the Six of Swords represents. It represents like leaving everything behind and kind of having a fresh start. And I think this is what you don't see on the other side of a fresh start here, Libra, is all this right here. King and Queen of Wands. So it could be love, right? Divine counterparts, but this could also be you moving towards something that you actually want to nurture. Again, the King of Wands, to me, he represents the true like nurturer, but in the sense that he's more entrepreneurial. He looks at everything like a business almost, but not entirely true. He also looks at things like they are babies. Whatever it is that he's raising, doesn't have to be a baby, could be a business, a new relationship. He really gives it like not only effort, but he really gives it all his like knowledge, wisdom, and he really knows how to take care of something to make it grow well. And I feel a lot of you have learned those things. Queen of Wands, she's a little bit about like needing to be bold and assertive, just like the King of Wands, but she needs to be bold and assertive. She is not protected from risk. The King of Wands is protected from risk. He has these salamanders on his cloak, and she is the only court fire card that does not have salamanders on her cloak. Even the Page of Wands has salamanders. Salamanders in the tarot, they represent protection from fire, basically protection from risk. She has this black cat here, could represent her intuition as well, and it could also, basically represent she doesn't care what people think. She just does what she wants to do. So again, I think embracing both of those energies is going to be the thing that kind of makes you successful this week. Where is this going, Libra? With the Queen of Wands, you have the Five of Wands. Take the risk. Again, this last row is meant to represent the good stuff. I don't know if I said that. So this is going to be good no matter what. And the Five of Wands would represent going on some, it's kind of like a card of conflict and competition. But to me, it's a card of going on a crazy adventure and finding some treasure. I frequently call this card Indiana Jones because to me, it represents like running through some sort of crazy temple to get a reward, right? And that's what I feel like a lot of you are doing here. It's like you're taking a risk that could be very profitable. With the King of Wands, you have the Justice card. Love it. You showing up in a very strong position. Libra puts you in a position of power and strength. And finally, with the Six of Swords, you have the Judgment card. See, you've woken up to this. I'm not too worried about this tower. The other thing I will say to you is that, to me, the most powerful combination in the tarot is the Tower and the Judgment card. To me, it represents a major revelation. So there could be a tower moment that you are already going through probably as you're watching this reading that is kind of causing you to have to move on from something here with that Six of Swords without like kind of knowing what's on the other side. But I think there's great things on the other side. And I also wouldn't be afraid to have a tower moment either. It's like, I think the tower gets a bad rap, but it's like sometimes the tower has to fall. The tower is weak in the first place, and so that we can rebuild it. You have this broken wish. It says, wish will not be granted. Again, whatever this imprisonment situation is that you have to move on from, it's almost like the quicker you move on from it, the quicker a wish will be granted, but it's somewhere else. It's something new. You have this apple. It says, temptation will test you. Devil twice in your reading. I would be careful of a person who's tempting you, but it doesn't even have to be a person. It could be anything. I do think we're in an amazing time for developing good habits. So if there are any habits that you wish to develop, now is the time. Because, again, I don't know. It's like Saturn and Pisces, right? That's what I'm going to choose to blame in this reading is Saturn and Pisces because, I think that Saturn and Pisces is good on one hand because we've all been stuck in the Neptune and Pisces dreamland for too long. Saturn and Pisces brings in a little reality, so I think we can bring those dreams down to earth. But I also think we can get lost in the reality, so make sure you're being disciplined. Next, you have this box card. It says you will receive a gift. So there could be like some sort of gift coming in for you, and again, it's probably going to be in some new in doing something new. You have this rooster card. It says an arrogant, boastful person you should not cross. This past person. I'm just going to pull another card because we already talked about that. You have this yoke, feeling tied down or frustrated. 10 of Wands. It's like we talked about this the whole entire reading. I feel like you feel like something is keeping you stuck. It's not that it's not, like, maybe on one hand it is keeping you stuck intuitively, I feel that. But on the other hand, I feel like there could be a change that you make that gets you unstuck. You have the Sun card. It says happiness and well-being. So I do feel like there is a lot of happiness coming in for you after some like frustration. The whole entire reading has some frustrating cards, right? I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but I feel like these frustrations are leading you to something better. Maybe with the Tower and the Judgment card towards like having the revelation that you need to make a change, which is going to lead to, a gift, success, whatever. Pretty interesting. So thank you for being here, Libra. Really appreciate it, and definitely enjoy your week.